Hello, and what is up, everybody? I'm not gonna lie, I've been struggling a little bit emotionally for the last month and a half. Sort of trying to get my head back in the game. Obviously, I did do one of the things that I planned to do after leaving Ashland, which was launching my podcast, which is called Housing Anarchy. But I'm not launching that with the intention of ignoring this channel. It's just something I've always wanted to do, and especially have been preparing to do even before I left Ashland. I was doing research into, how you start a podcast, how you get listed on different platforms, and I didn't want to just jump into it without understanding sort of the direction I wanted to go in with it. And I do have a whole list of topics, so I have no shortage of topics going into the future. But for anybody who's listened to the podcast, I also would love to interview people who are living any sort of alternative lifestyle. So that's off-grid, that's van life, that's RV living. It can be a travel lifestyle. It can be a non-travel lifestyle. As long as it's not your standard, I live in a normal house type thing. Also, shared housing, anything that's different for some reason. I can evaluate it on a case-by-case basis, but that's sort of what I want to focus on with Housing Anarchy. Like I said, it's not about travel, but it's also not totally focused on travel. But like I said, I've been struggling since I left Ashland a little bit. I got really settled in there. I felt like I was making good progress on some of my fitness goals. I mean, it was going slowly, but I didn't really realize how much progress I made until I left and I started to fall off again. And I'm kind of disappointed in myself for that, so I'm trying to get refocused. It's like I know how to, do at-home workouts and be successful at them. But there was just something about having that community that made me feel really, really good, and energized and positive, and then having to leave, because basically I had no choice. My contract was over. I wasn't going to have the money coming in to continue. It was kind of a depressing moment to me. Mind you, I've retained friendships with people from there, so it's not like, oh, it's gone forever. And also, there is a high possibility. I don't like to say for sure until I've signed a contract, and right now there is no signed contract to that effect. But more than likely, I will be back at Oregon Shakespeare Festival sometime next year. Not for the whole festival, not in January. In January, I'm actually going to be in St. Louis, and I've never been to St. Louis before, so I'm so much I get there and the show gets started, I'll be very energized and into it again. But that's a little ways out. I have to get through the holiday. I've gotten through Thanksgiving. Now Christmas needs to come and go. And then I'll be a little bit closer to that show starting. And I am excited mostly because, like I said, I've never been to Missouri. I've never been to St. Louis. So that's going to be a new experience. I am currently in Oklahoma. I was in Texas. I went to Texas to meet up with some friends. Had a great couple of days. Actually, I was there about a week. A couple of days with a group of people. Videos will be coming out on other people's channels to this effect. And then I hung out a couple extra days with Riley and Bunny. So Riley Does Life and Bunny Plays Here are their channels. So I spent a couple of extra days with them, and then I broke off on my own. And my intention originally was just to stay around Texas, mostly because the gas was super cheap. I could not believe I was getting gas for $2.50 a gallon sometimes. It was not over $3 anywhere. So I was like, okay, Texas has reasonably lower temperatures compared to some other places, and so I'll just stay put. But the sky started falling. I swear it was raining every day. Even as I drove into Oklahoma this morning, it was bloody raining. So it's been a lot of driving in the rain, and I'm glad to have driven out of the rain and be out of the rain. Temperature right now is actually pretty darn great. According to my temperature gauge, it is 76% in here. For some reason, my outdoor is not picking up, but I don't know what that's about. Might have to go check on it. Maybe it's dead or something. I usually pick it up all the time. But it's been, good to get out of the rain. I think the rain was depressing me further. And that's basically what's been going on with me. I did not film a lot of me driving. Getting down to Texas, I ended up staying an extra week in the Bay Area. I plan to stay in the Bay Area 1 week and then take a slow trip down to Texas to meet up with everybody. And it turned into 2 weeks for a bunch of complicated reasons. There was a point where I thought I might stay for a job I was offered. That job fell through. And then there was a friend I was sticking around for an extra week. So I stuck around through Thanksgiving week, and that really tightened my timeline to get to Texas in time for the gathering that we were planning. I didn't really get to drive around Texas and experience it. I kind of was like just there with them, and then I was in Dallas for a little bit, and the sky was falling the whole time. And right now I don't have a lot of money to be like going all over the place, so I've been kind of staying on a straight path. And since it just kept raining, I decided to just trickle my way closer to Missouri, and that's how I ended up in Oklahoma, because that's a point in between those 2 points. I'm trying to get together what I want to call my big Ashland video. Now, I did a lot of filming in Ashland that never actually turned into videos, and I had such a beautiful time there that I really want to put that video together, but for some reason mentally I just haven't been able to click. Honestly, the holidays are always kind of a hard time for me, and it's a time where I kind of honestly bury my head in the sand and let time pass. But in January, I'm going to be starting a new job. So before that starts taking over my life, I'm glad I got the podcast started. My plan is to get an episode out every week on a subject. And like I said, I have a long list of subjects, but I also would like to get some interviews going. But the plan is to still put the podcast out every week. Let nothing get in the way of that. Staying ahead on scripts, ideas, plans, and filming will help that out a little bit. So yeah, that's like a big goal for me. And right now I'm 2 weeks in, and I already have the third week halfway prepped. I'm going to finish up prepping that for this Friday today. I wanted to be a little bit more ahead than I am right now. And so that's what I'm working on. I'm going to St. Louis because that's where my next job is, starting January 10th. This close to finalizing the contract. I basically haven't officially signed it yet. I've said yes, all the verbal agreements are there, but I'm not there and I haven't officially signed the contract yet. So January 10th, I'll be starting a job in St. Louis. Until then, I'm going to be between here and St. Louis. I don't know how fast I'm going to be moving. I'm not going to be going off camping. I'm not going to be settling down anywhere. I'm going to stay near main thoroughfares and main towns. And I'm just going to take it day by day. I don't know when I'm going to cross over into Missouri officially. I'm about 8 to 9 hours outside of my goal. And so, yeah, I can slowly trickle there because I have plenty of time. It would be nice to kind of get there, know I'm there, find a post office where I can get my mail forwarded to me, because there's been a lot of issues with that, and just sort of wait it out. And while I'm there, really get started on these videos, because I really do want to do the videos I wanted to do about Ashland, and I can do them as sort of a retrospective of my time there. So that's what my plans are, to do a retrospective on my time in Ashland, to continue with the Housing Anarchy podcast. And also, since it's been so rainy, I've been spending a lot of time on this thing over here, which is my Nintendo Switch. One of the things that really I upgraded while I was in Ashland was I got this monitor. This monitor can do a couple of things. I can put streaming services on it, because I have a little device right here that'll stream to it. And then I also have my Nintendo Switch, and I have a Mac Mini on the wall, and then I have a little HDMI switcher that I can use during the day. Usually at night, I'm not going to turn this on because this is going to take more power than my phone or like using my laptop. But I edit on this now, so I'm very happy with this new setup over here on this wall. And one of the things I want to talk about in my Ashland retrospective is sort of, this whole situation plus upgrading my power system. So that's sort of what I'm moving towards. I just mentally haven't been there, and I don't know why. And it might just be the holidays. It might be the holidays, it might be being between locations and not really feeling settled, or that I can really settle anywhere and clear my head. It's things that happened between leaving Ashland and getting to this point. There was just a lot going on. The drive to Texas, because I had to do it in such a short timeline, was not pleasant. I do not like driving 6 to 8 hours a day. Like, since that insane trip ended, I have not driven more than 2 hours in a day. And sometimes I break that up. So that's where I am. That's what I'm doing. Because the gap between me getting to videos for the Dawn of Vanlife and my time leaving Ashland just keeps getting wider and wider. I just wanted to do this video to check in. I've been a little bit all over the place emotionally. I had a great time while I was in Texas, hanging out with Bunny and Riley and Kylie and Dee and so many people. You might see me pop up in a couple of Dee's videos in the near future. Dee, of course, is Lady Bug Out. But even though I had a great time in that little window once I got to Texas, I have been having a rough emotional time otherwise, which is weird because I'm so excited about my future because I have achieved it. I have joined the union, which I've been trying to do for years. I have work lined up, assuming everything happens and all these contracts come through. I will get a chance to go back to Ashland and rejoin my gym and rejoin my friends. But in the meantime, I need to get myself sort of emotionally and mentally back together. And I think need to take a moment. I haven't really breathed. It's been like, I need to do this next thing. I need to move out of housing. I need to move back in the box truck. I need to get the electrical system together. I need to, it's cold. I need to get down to the Bay Area where it's warmer. I want to check in with some people when I get to the Bay Area. But I still want to do this Texas meetup that me and my friends want to do. So I'm going to get down there by the first week of December. But also, now that I'm in the Bay Area, these other things are coming up that I need. It just snowballed and snowballed and snowballed and snowballed. And like, I think there was a part of me that zoned out and never really breathed and relaxed into things enough to just be able to take a moment and deal. And so like, I feel like I'm taking those moments, taking those breaths as I slowly trickle towards St. Louis, and just reassessing and reorganizing myself. And all I want to do, hopefully, and who knows if I'll achieve it or not, I've failed so many times, is try to get myself in order enough so that when I start that St. Louis job, I kind of have a better picture of where I'm moving forward with things in life. In my experience moving forward, it's crazy looking back to where I started. Like, in so many ways, I'm in a much better place, and I think that's why it makes it hard for me to figure out what I can contribute. Like, I remember as I've been doing the Housing Anarchy podcast, I've been remembering sort of what it was like to live in the car and what it was like in the minivan. And so I felt like sharing those experiences were so valid because I was surviving on so little and getting by and being in that experience. And then I am nowhere near privileged. This is not the fanciest rig in the world, but it's also not the worst. And so on one hand, I'm feeling grateful for what I have. On the other hand, I'm saying, what value does this have now? And trying to find the marriage of that. Because like when I was trying to survive in the car, in the minivan, I could see the value of these moments, and I'm struggling with the value of moments that are worth turning the camera on, because I'm not a big person who likes being on camera. Like, when people are taking photos, I'm the person probably avoiding the camera, unless I think there's some reason I should be seen, or like it's a moment like that. But generally speaking, like, I'm not a person who's constantly trying to, like, take photos of myself or film myself. But when I started the YouTube channel, I was filming myself for a reason. There was a piece of something I wanted out there that was different from what was already out there. And number one, during my time in Ashland, I struggled feeling like, what's the word I'm looking for? During my time in Ashland, I struggled feeling like I was even a part of the van life community. And then as I've come back into it, I felt like an alien amongst van lifers as well, which I guess I've always felt like, but it used to be in this positive way, and now I'm like, does who I am even have value anymore in a way that's worth sharing? And I think that's something I'm struggling with. Like, what value does what I'm doing have anymore? Housing Anarchy is helping me find that a little bit again, but I definitely am struggling with it on the Dawn of Vanlife channel. Alright, I think that's all I have. I've just been rambling. I usually don't like to do these kinds of videos. I like to have a solid idea of sort of what I'm making a video about. But yeah, you just got me in the box truck talking. Like I said, I'm in Oklahoma. I'm on my way to St. Louis, Missouri. That's where my next job is, hoping nothing falls through. That's another reason I don't shout things from the clouds, because I have lost things before, and it's nobody's fault, but I feel like if I talk about it and I let other people let me get excited about it and then I lose it, it's worse than if I don't talk about it and once it's happened, you know, I'm good and I'm in. It's much worse for me to get excited about something and then have it not happen than for the opposite to be true. And so I tend to hold back on things a little bit, and I don't allow myself to get excited about things. You know, like, I've wanted the union for so long, and I still, until like I got that, even after I paid them like the first set of my dues, I wasn't even sharing that on social media. I waited the couple of weeks till they actually, now the thing is, after I paid my money, all I had to do was call them and be like, hey, where's my login? You promised I'd have it in a couple of weeks. But it came just as promised, and I didn't even tell people that I had gotten forward on these steps until I got that far, and I was so excited about it. You know, about the possibility of actually getting paid fairly for work I've been doing for years, but had to have like all these other supporting jobs to do as well. I don't know. It's very exciting, and because like most of my audience is in theater people, it's really hard to bring you into also what all of that meant to me. I'm very grateful for the people who have understood and emotionally celebrated with me when I felt like I was in a place to do that. But otherwise, rambly video, wrapping it up. I am going to be working on my Ashland videos because I want to make those, and so those are my goals going forward between now and the start of St. Louis. I hope everybody's having a great holiday. See you later.